excited. Welcome to TDDT, Triva the Diva 2. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I'm on a mission to heal out loud, to unlock my full potential, which means working harder on myself than my job. Let go and lock in. Let's dig in. Because honey, I don't want to be a loser no more. I'm not a loser, I just win a lot. Hey, because I'm doing this avatar development work, I really want to delve into how I see myself, which is most important. Triva, what is your perception of yourself? I think generally, when I think about it, I feel like I perceive how I see myself. I see myself as being a smart girl now. I see myself, I think I see more negative parts of myself than positive parts of myself. So it's interesting that I said, I'm smart now. But honestly, day to day, I'm not waking up thinking, wow, I'm just so smart. Wow. I don't wake up every day thinking that. So there's a saying that there's a repetitive thought that we all have as humans. And it's this one thought that takes up 95% of our time. So 95% of the time we have this one recurring thought. And then you beg to question, what is that thought? And sometimes it happens on autopilot. You don't even know that you're doing it. So I can honestly say I constantly feel very negative towards myself. I doubt that I can take my life to the next level. It's weird because I operate in this dual understanding of myself. There's moments when I feel like, oh, I know I can do this. I know I can do it. It's like this quiet burning that I feel, but like I know I can do it. And then there's this, but what I really think that supersedes that thought is the fact that I probably can't. I would tell you that there's probably more of a fear that I can't more than anything else. Yet I know I can do it. So, and it drives me mad. So I have these moments when I operate in this space where it's like, oh, I know I can do it. Or it's not even a knowing. It's like, I can do it. And so sometimes I put in this little effort that I do it. But then I kind of get distracted easily and I give up, or something happens. And then I'm like, see, how am I going to do this if my brain's still like that? Hence, this is why I'm kind of doing this, because that happens to me a lot, where I'll start on the path and I feel good. I'm like, okay. And then with that comes confidence. And I'm like, Triva, remember this feeling. This is good. Remember this feeling so you can keep doing it. Remember this feeling. And it's so easy for me to forget the feeling. Then I'm off. And then I'm off in la la land. Something else is happening. Is that rain? Oh, yay, it's raining. I love rain. I feel like a lot of times I'm a fraud, operating in duplicity, because, you kind of believe one way but act another. So I think that's a lot of my issue too. So it's not really positive how I see myself. Like, it's so funny, the voice that I hear. It's not really my voice. It's not Treva. If Treva would to have raised Treva and all I knew was Treva, I would not have these thoughts. I realize that a lot of times the voice that I hear, like saying I'm a loser, it is the voice of someone else. And what I'm talking about now is the Pygmalion effect. I've never heard about it until I read the book. So the Pygmalion effect is very interesting. So to give you some context, it's a Greek mythology. So dig this, right? Pygmalion, he's a sculptor, okay? And he does great work. That's all he does. He sculpts. That's what he does. You talking about somebody that has grit? He has grit. That's what he does. He does one thing. He sculpts. He's a great sculptor. He could not find a woman that he liked. He found flaws in all of them. And so he said, I am going to sculpt the most perfect woman. And he sculpts the most perfect woman that he falls in love with the sculpture. He sleeps with the sculpture. To the sculpture. Now, that's not what they said in the text or in the video, but I'm sure that's what. He goes before the goddess and begs her to make this sculpture immortal. Turn this sculpture into a real human being. And she does, boom. So that's the story. So that's where Pygmalion comes from. The Pygmalion effect in fact, let's just take a look at the diagram, which is fun, okay? So it starts off with our beliefs, which influences our actions towards other people. It impacts the other person's belief, not about anybody else, but about themselves. That's deep, which then causes their reaction to us, which provides evidence that we were right to begin with. You know what? And you know what is so interesting? I say that about Black people. Before I even knew that this was a thing, I had that thought about Black people. Us, as, me as a Black American. And I hate the fact that so many Black Americans have taken on the identity of a nigga. I really, really do. And it always struck me as odd. I even have this conversation with my mother. I have this conversation all the time. Like, where did that whole paradigm come from that Black people were lazy, we're ghetto, we this, we that? Where did that come from whenever you had slavery and these Black people had to work from sun up to sundown? As Malcolm X called it, they had to work from can't see in the morning to can't see at night. You had to. There was no other choice. How did we get to this space now where people are like, we're lazy, or even we see ourselves as bummy or lazy? How did that happen? Pygmalion effect. Think about that. Women, Black women are bitches and bed wenches. The men are bucks and they're just cattle. Big bucks, okay? They're niggas, all of them niggas. They ain't nothing. Forget them. And that was their way of justifying the cruelty towards the people who were working for free. Correct? So what happened? It influenced their actions towards us, which was the cruelty, which was the talking, the shunning, the shaming, all of that. Your hair is nappy, your skin is bad, you're bad luck, you're dirty, I don't want you, And then what happened? We started to believe that of ourselves. Our skin is horrible, our hair is nappy, we's niggas, right? And then after that, it caused us to behave in such a way that reinforced that they were right. And now they're like, see, well, I tell you, look at them, niggas. But, we better not say it now. But we know they niggas. They know they're niggas. We don't need to say it anymore. Niggas. Isn't that interesting? Like I talked about in the last video, right? Like I said in the last video, my grandmother sitting up here talking about something. Oh yeah, like my kids say, you a loser, da 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 da. And like I said, initially I worked hard against it. I didn't even want to let that into my brain. But the truth of the matter is I had already felt it. You think I don't know? You think I don't feel it? You think I don't see that there's a lack of achievement? You think I don't need you to say, and that's the thing. I feel like if you want to have a conversation with someone because you feel like that they're not accepting a certain truth, that's one thing. But that wasn't the situation. You feel me? You think I don't know that? If anything, to me, the conversation with a person like me would be like, wow, well, what are you doing next? Well, how can I influence you? Well, did you think about this? Because I like to get out there to work this out, to find a resolution. That's what the fuck I want to do. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be like, oh, I'm a loser. Let me just drink some booze and you know what I'm saying? But it leads to that. So because that was the thought process without me even recognizing it or knowing it, I did start to do more loser things, like just do nothing but go out and hang out. But in my mind, I didn't see it that way, right? I just thought I was having a good time. I thought I was just like, well, let me just have fun at least if I can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? But then it turns into this thing where I have these actions towards myself, self-sabotaging, procrastination, and then the other person is saying, see, look what I told you, loser. That's challenging. I think we must be careful about, and I say this all the time in to people that I know, you have to be careful how we treat other people. We must be careful how we think of other people, because something that people don't realize that I've picked up, that I believe is true wholeheartedly, is that karma is just not the act of something coming back to you like a boomerang. Karma really is your own thoughts fucking with you. The same thoughts, bad, ill thoughts that you had about someone else, it's going to come right back to you. Yeah, but anyway, how I perceive myself is a lot of times negative because what has been told to me when I was younger. I struggled with being smart. I struggled in school. And so I thought I was really dumb. For years, I was really dumb. And then I was tired of being dumb. So I worked on myself not being dumb. I wasn't a great communicator. And that made me feel stupid. That made me feel inferior. I worked on that. So there was a lot of work that I've done. That's what I was saying in the last video. Like, there's a lot of work that I've done before getting to this point. So the work that I've already done, had I not did that, I wouldn't even be at this point. Because now I can communicate effectively. You know, I have language for certain things that I do and think, right? Now it's just now taking it to the next level. So perception of self is so imperative. I want to change how I see myself, how I perceive myself. How deep does this perception go? And that's why it's so important, especially as, you know, we're on this journey. It is so freaking important to unlearn all of the toxic shit that we've picked up. And it's not going to be easy. It's certainly not going to be overnight, but it's time to consider, like, everything that you think you know, pretend you don't know, and just learn it. That's like even with simple words that I already know how to use. I'm like, let me Google this because I really, a lot of times we speak out of context, you know, and if your language isn't right about something, that means your understanding isn't right about something. So I try to really get that. I try to really do that, unlearn all of that toxic bullshit that's in our head. You know what's so interesting too? And I'm so grateful for folks. I'm gonna be honest, I really am. Because so many people have saw greatness in me before I saw it in myself. I'm gonna give you an example. I had a homegirl who I went to high school with when I was living in New York. She wanted to move to New York. So she reached out to me on Facebook. We exchanged numbers, and she was like, just ask me questions, how long I've been in New York or whatever have you. And I'm thinking about making the transition. Maybe I can come up and visit you. So she did. And I told her, listen, shit ain't sweet up here. This is what it is. Blasey, blasey, blasey. So we were hanging out one day and I was getting dressed, and I love color. I'm a colorful person. Honey, I dreams in color. I'm a colorful person. Okay. So I'm really into that. Anyway, so I put on this shirt and it was quite different or whatever. And so she looked at me. She always looked at what I wore and stuff because she was really into fashion and stuff. And she says to me, she's like, wow, Treva, you're an artist. Like, you're really an artist. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not, And so she's like, why don't you don't think that you're an artist? Why don't you think that you're an artist? Why do you say that you're not an artist? I'm like, because I don't get paid from it. And the funny thing is, I was so fucking serious too. I really was. The one thing I don't like, no matter where I am in my life, I don't care how fucking embarrassing it may seem to society or people in society, I don't fucking lie. I don't portray to be something that I'm not. Now, will I be intact? Will I dress a certain way? Will I try to make sure like my makeup looks good? I look good? Yeah. But it's not to make sure that I look good to pretend that I have money or to pretend something of myself, because I let people know 100%. I get things from the thrift shop and a lot of my clothes are free. You got some clothes to give me? I'll give you an address so quick, honey. I take men's clothing, women's, and children clothing. Don't get it fucked up. I love free. I am a garbage picker. I'm not in here trying to pretend that I'm something that I'm not. I think that's a waste of fucking time. So I don't do that. I don't do that. And I'm not interested in walking around here and portraying something. I want to be it. When you meet me, what you see is what you get. I was like adamant on like making sure that she knew I didn't partake in that narrative, that I'm not going to walk around here and portray like I'm this artist or have this identity when I'm not even doing the work. I'm not going to call myself an artist. I'm not going, because that's not my identity, because that's not what I'm doing. And I still believe in that. I feel more comfortable saying that I'm an artist now because I literally, as a singer-songwriter, because I do go out and sing. I don't make money. Oh, and one time I actually did make money from it. I sung at this girl's wedding. So there it is. It's one person, but anyway, I got paid to sing. And actually say I'm somewhat of a professional. Okay, girl. But at the time, I wasn't doing any of that. It was just a dream. It was a vision. It was a goal. I didn't necessarily know how to attain it or go for it, but it was certainly a vision of mine. It was a want. So here's the thing about perception and paradigms, because both were true. She was right. I was right. We both were right. We both were right. We both were right. Because there is a level of identity that you become, like, say, for instance, in Grit, the first chapter, she was talking about the characteristics of certain identities. So like a businessman would be more risky. That's their characteristic because they know that that's what it takes to be in business. An artist will be creative. An athlete will have the characteristic of a victor, a winner. They have that's their mindset, right? And I think that that's interesting. So if you are an artist, that's what you do. You create, and that's what you should be doing. And I wasn't necessarily doing that then, but it was something, I guess, that was inside of me that she saw. And so I appreciate people like her. I really, really do, because it took time for it to manifest in such a way that I saw it and that I could respect it. So the perception of myself wasn't that of that identity, unfortunately. And I think that that's most important. Like, you need to know and need to see and understand who you are, Treva, in order to shift your attitude and do the work. So here's the thing that's quite interesting. Now, this is where we can kind of segue on over to grit. Sisyphean work to me is like the idea of doing this work without a reward. The only thing you know for a fact that's going to come from you doing this repetitive work is that you're just going to become a master at it. But the interesting thing about it is that Sisyphean work is what it takes, and it's pretty much grit. That's what grit is. And it's not going to be talent alone. And I knew I could do this from an identity-based place, meaning I'm an artist. I have an artistic directive eye. I can see things. I can put things together. I can take them apart and put it together. But getting to that place, I thought only people that were kind of like me I saw myself in the Michael Jacksons, the Whitney Houstons, and I just thought that they just got there, right? I just thought it was like somebody took them like, oh, I see something special in you. Pygmalion effect, right? And act in kind toward you, and then put you where you need to be. Because, and that was the fucking stories that I was hearing. Like, oh, this person got discovered, this person. And I just knew it was going to happen that way for myself. So when it didn't, I was devastated. And I'm not going to lie, it took me so many years to realize I fell into a very, very deep depression. Because it did not work out the way that I thought it was going to work out. And that was extremely hard for me, because I was just like, it seemed like nobody believed in me. But here's the kicker. Nobody believed in me because I didn't believe really fully in myself. The lack of the belief I was always busy trying to find people that would believe in me before I would even do the work. I didn't even know. I thought this was my perception. I literally thought that I had to. So like I got like a vocal coach when I moved to New York and things like that. Like I knew, and to get my body in shape, like I knew I should have been doing that. Those were the two things that I saw that I thought. So kudos to me for that. Cause I was really dumb. See, I'm telling you, I was slow as hell. A lot of times, funny enough, when I see people like, I was watching Meg Thee Stallion's documentary last night, and she was like, you know what? I'm 24 and I'm about to take over. And I was that age. I didn't have that bravado. I didn't have that at all. So when I see young people, or people, well, they're young to me now, but when I was that age, I didn't have it. I'm literally just getting it now. Now, I'm just now getting it. Where it's like, I am the shit, but before I didn't think that I was the shit. I was like, oh, I was waiting for someone to come lift me up and put me out there. And when you're trying to get, especially into a space like the industry, Everything is so competitive out here, except if you want to have like some mediocre job. You can just go there and be this small and do your work like a little work mouse, you know, in some hole somewhere. But baby, when I tell you, every industry, I don't care what you choose to do, you have to have a knowing. You have to have a bravado about yourself. And that's why having a perception, I get it now. How do you perceive yourself? Because if you want to go out here into the world and thinking you're going to be, oh, I sing. People, oh, child, bye. Bye. It's very seldom. Now, you might find somebody, you might be lucky. Now, to me, this is where I feel like maybe luck or fate. I don't know. It's your choice how you choose to look at it. But from where I'm sitting, I'm going to call it luck. Okay? Especially from my, from my experience, I'm going to call it luck. You'll probably be lucky to find someone who can say, wow, I see greatness in you. Let me lift you up. And that's what my slow self was looking for. That's what I was looking for. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I was looking for. Because I didn't see myself as being strong enough. I saw like a place like where Michael and Whitney was. That's such a huge platform. It's a global sensation, it's huge. That's huge. But it is possible for anyone to get there, but it takes a Sisyphean type of work and a knowing about yourself, confidence. You know, you got to be brave, courageous, definitely. I'm going to end it here. As always, this has been fabulous, darling. And I'm going to go and do some more research. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.